Dear learners, welcome back. In this video, we are going to solve another question which has been previously asked in the year 1999 in ESE worth 40 marks that I forgot to mention. So let me just mention here. This question was asked in the year ESE 1999 for 40 marks. So this is one of the very important questions, and without any further ado, let's read the question and try to understand what is it trying to ask. So the question says that in the figure shown below, three metal cubes A, B, and C of sides 100 millimeter. So these are the cubes A, B, and C, and they are 100 millimeter in dimensions. In direct contact, resting on a rigid base of and confined in the x coordinate between two rigid end plates. So there are three cubes which are placed, and these are rigid walls. Okay, these black walls are very rigid, so it will not move. Okay, if the upper face of the center cube, that is cube B, is subjected to uniform compressive stress of 0.5 kilonewton per millimeter square, it is kilonewton per millimeter square, here's the compressive stress, and it is sigma z given to you. Okay, so it is 0.5 kilonewton per millimeter cube. Compute for cube B. We have to find for cube B the following. First is the direct stresses in x direction. What is the stresses in x direction? We have to find out, first thing. Second thing, the direct strain in the three coordinate directions x, y, and z. Then volumetric strain we have to find out. Then what is given to you, the elastic properties for the three cubes A, B, and C are given in the figure. So what is given to you? E, that is the Young's modulus of the three cubes, are given to you, that is 150 kilonewton per meter square. E is 200 kilonewton per meter square, and this is 150 kilonewton per meter square. The value of E are given to you, and mu is given to you, that is Poisson's ratio is given to you, and that's different for all the three cubes. Now there is part B of the question, and it says that state all the assumptions made. Whatever assumptions we are taking, we have to state that. So this was for 40 marks. Okay, so this is going to be a very important question. First of all, let's try to understand this. So there is a cube. In cube B, we are putting a stress from upper side. It is a compressive stress. Okay, sigma z, and same will be the compressive stress from here if we are drawing the FBD. Now due to this compressive stress, what will happen, this cube B will try to elongate, right, in the x direction. This will try to elongate in the x direction, but there is another cube A and C present here which will hinder its expansion, which will not allow it to expand. So what will happen due to that? It will experience a compressive force or compressive stress, let's say, known as sigma. Let's call it sigma. Okay, now due to the equilibrium of forces, what will happen, the cube A will experience a similar compressive stress sigma from cube B, right? So, and here it will try to push, this rigid wall, and then rigid wall will apply a same compressive stress sigma like this in block A. Now what about block C? Let me just draw a block C over here. In block C, here you can see sigma is there, and it is compressing block B. So block B will induce a similar reaction just opposite to this. So block C will also experience sigma compression, and due to the rigid wall it will also experience a compressive stress of sigma. So basically all the three blocks will experience compressive stress in it in the x direction. And what we have to find out, we have to find out the direct stresses in x direction and for cube B. That means we have to find this sigma. First question. I hope you understood this. So now let me just draw the fresh figure for this one. Now using that, the walls are rigid now. These two walls are rigid. So basically there will be no overall change in the length, right? So if we use that condition, we can find out what is sigma. We need a compatibility equation, right? So the compatibility equation would be that there will be no change, there will be no overall change in the blocks. That is the change in length of block A plus change in length of block B plus change in length of block C will be 0, and that is in the x direction, I am telling you. Okay, and why is it this is for x direction, and why is that happening? Because the walls are rigid. Here there is a rigid wall, here also there is a rigid wall, so the blocks are not expanding or contracting. Okay, now we have to make use of this equation in order to find out what is the value of sigma. Now change in, we know that change in length by original length is strain, right? So change in length can be written as strain into length, isn't it? So can we write that this implies strain in A into length of A plus strain in B into length of B plus strain in C into length of C must be equals to 0. From here I am writing it. Change in length to the original length is strain. So from there we can write change in length is equals to strain into length. Now what is given in the question? It is given in the question that three metal cubes A, B and C of side 100 millimeter in direct contact. So that means this length is 100 millimeter, this length is 100 millimeter and this length is 100 millimeter. So what is given to us? That LA, length of A is equals to length of B is equals to length of C is equals to 100 mm. This is given to us. Okay, so from here can we write that strain in A into length? Let me just write this as length only, because LA is equals to LB is equals to LC. Let this be equal to L. Okay, so strain in B plus strain in C into length must be equals to 0. Now if we take length as common and put it in the right hand side, we'll be left with strain in A plus strain in B plus strain in C is equals to 0, right? So from this compatibility equation, we arrived at new equation, this, right? So using this, now stresses are given to us and also the Young's modulus, that is E, is given to us. So can we find out what is strain in A and strain in B and strain in C? Isn't it? So let's try to do that. Strain in A plus strain in B plus strain in C is equals to 0. Now we know that what is strain for A. See, this is block A. This is sigma and this is block A, right? So strain will be what? It will be minus sigma by E. Why I am writing minus? Because the stress is compressive, right? Now for block B there are two stresses, don't you forget this. For block B there are two stresses, one is sigma here and there is another stress sigma z over here, right? So for block B the equation will be different. So it will be, for x direction let's write minus sigma by E B minus mu minus sigma z by EB, isn't it? For strain at C, it will be again minus sigma EC must be equals to 0. Now just solving this a little bit. So minus sigma by EA minus sigma by EB plus mu sigma z by EB minus sigma by EC must be equals to 0. Now let's remove so many minus signs and we'll be left with sigma 1 by EA plus 1 by EB plus 1 by EC minus mu sigma Z by EB, okay, is equals to 0. So I have, what I have done, I have just removed all the minus sign and we'll be left with this equation. Now you see that E for cube A and E for cube C are same. So can we write EA is equals to EC? It's given in the question. So can we write this EC as EA? So sigma, and what I'm doing, okay, let me write one more step. EA plus 1 by EB plus 1 by EA minus mu sigma Z by EB is equals to 0. Okay, so let's do one thing. Now sigma 2 by EA plus 1 by EB minus mu sigma Z by EB is equals to 0. Now our motive is to find out this sigma, right? So let's separate the sigma and put everything on the other side. So doing that, what we will get, this implies sigma is equals to mu sigma Z by EB, mu sigma Z by EB, this is B, and whole divided by 2 2 by EA plus 1 by EB, 2 by EA plus 1 by EB, and then we'll get the value of sigma. So sigma will be how much? What is the value of mu given to you? Okay, so this is mu B. Okay, what mu we are taking? This is mu B. We are putting it for the second cube, right? So it will be mu B. Which mu we are taking? It is mu B. So what is the value of mu B given to you? It is 0.3, right? 0.3 into what is sigma Z given to you? It is 0.5 kilonewton per meter square. So it is 0.5 kilonewton per meter square. EB is given to you as 200 kilonewton per meter square. 200 kilonewton per meter square by 2 by EA. EA is how much? 150, I guess. So EA is 150 and EC is also 150. Okay. Okay. 2 by 150, and what is EB? The value of EB is 200. So solving this, we'll get the value of sigma. Zero 0.04, and this will come out to be in kilonewton per meter square. Why? Everything is given in kilonewton per meter square. So first part of the question is done. We have found out what is sigma. This sigma. First part of question number A part is done. The direct stresses in x direction we have found out. Now we have to find out the direct strain in the three coordinate directions x, y and z. So let's move there. What we are going to do, we have to find out the strain in x direction, strain in y direction and strain in z direction for B. Strain in x direction will be what? This is for B. Block B we have to find out. Okay. So sigma Z was given to us. Sigma, this sigma was given to us. We just have to find out what is the strain in x direction. So strain in x direction, we have to use the formula is minus sigma by E, that is EB we are taking, minus mu sigma Z by EB. So that will come out to be minus sigma by EB plus mu sigma Z by EB, that is the strain in x direction, And there will be another term also, right? Mu sigma, let's say this is y direction by E, but there is no sigma in y direction, so this will come out to be 0. Okay, so let me write it as sigma x. Let me write it as sigma x. So minus mu sigma x will be how much? We just found out this sigma 0.041, right? So minus 0.041 kilonewton per meter square, and EB is given to us like 200, right? EB is given to us in 200. So it will be 200 plus mu is given to us as 0.3, and sigma z is given to us as 0.5 by 200. So let's calculate this. It will be 15 threes as 5.45 into 10 to the power minus 4. This is strain in x direction. Now let's calculate the strain in y direction. Okay, strain in y direction will be what? Sigma y by E minus mu sigma x by E minus mu sigma z by E. This is the formula I am writing. Okay, this is the formula. So what will be sigma y? Sigma y is not given to us. There is no stress in the y direction. There is only stress in x direction and z direction. It is given as sigma z in the question. Okay, so what is, let me just write down the coordinate axis which is given in the question. This is sigma z, this is y direction. Okay, so because why I am taking like this, because in the question they have given this as sigma z. Sigma y is not given to you, so this will be 0, and it will be minus mu. There will be another minus sign for sigma x because it is compressive in nature by EB minus mu. This is mu b. Okay, mind you, this is mu b, that is Poisson's ratio for the block B. Sigma z minus sign again and by EB. So all in all it will become positive. It is mu by EB, and you will be left with sigma x plus sigma z. So mu is 0.3 given to you and EB is 200 given to you, and sigma x we have found out to be 0.041, right? 0.041 plus sigma z is how much? 0.5 given to you. So the answer will be 8.11 into 10 to the power minus 4. Let's find out what is strain in z direction now. So strain in z direction is sigma z by E minus mu sigma y by E minus mu sigma x by E. This is the formula I am writing, and here the stresses are in tension. In this formula what we take is that stresses are in tension and they are positive. If the stresses are in compression, we have to put another minus sign. So strain in z direction will be minus sigma z by EB minus mu b. Sigma y is again 0, so we don't have to put anything. Now minus of sigma x I am writing, that is sigma we have found out. So it will be minus of sigma z will be 0.5 given in the question, 200 given in the question, plus mu is 0.3, sigma x is we have found out 0. Now this will be 0.041 by EB is 200, and if you calculate this, what will you get? It is minus 0.438. 438 or 44 you can write into 10 to the power minus 3, and you are getting this as negative. Sigma strain in z direction as negative. That means the block B is getting compressed in the z direction, but it is getting elongated in the x and y direction. Okay, this is the significance of getting a negative sign. So with this we have completed the part 2 of the question. Part 2 is the direct strain in the 3 coordinate directions. So strain in x direction, strain in y direction, and strain in z direction we have found out. And these are the answers. Strain in x direction, this is strain in x direction, this is the strain in y direction, and this is the strain in z direction. Now we have to find the third part of the question. Third part of the question is the volumetric strain. So volumetric strain will be volumetric strain. This is the third part of the question. Volumetric strain is strain in the x direction plus the strain in y direction plus the strain in z direction. The summation of this will give you the volumetric strain. So basically you have to add these numbers. 5.45 into 10 to the power minus 4. Let's do that. 5.45 into 10 to the power minus 4 plus 8.11 into 10 to the power minus 4 plus 8.11 into 10 to the power minus 4 plus with a negative sign now minus 2.438 into 10 to the power minus 3. And if you do this, you will get your answer. And the answer, final answer which we are getting is minus 1.082 into 10 to the power minus 3. And this minus sign over here shows that the volume of the cube B is getting reduced. This volume of the cube B is getting reduced. It is getting a compressive net volumetric strain is compressive in nature. So with this we have completed the part A of the question. Part A has got 3 parts, so we have completed that. And let's move on to part B. Part B says that state all the assumptions made. So whatever the assumptions we have taken, we have to state that. So even if you just put 1 or 2 assumptions, it is fine. So what are the assumptions? You might not be knowing. Unknowingly you have put all the assumptions, but you must be wondering what assumptions have we made taken here. So assumptions were that the surfaces are frictionless. So I'm just writing, one assumption is that frictionless surfaces we have not taken into account. So all the surfaces we have taken is frictionless. The material is homogeneous. The material is homogeneous, isotropic, and elastic in nature. So these are the assumptions, because no material is entirely homogeneous, no material is isotropic, absolute isotropic, and absolute elastic. So, and we have taken that Hooke's law is valid. So these are the assumptions only, because no material is perfectly elastic in nature, no surface is proper frictionless. So these are the assumptions which we always take, right? So these are the assumptions which we have made. Now do share it with your peer group. Thanks for watching. Bye bye and have a nice day.